think it's kind of like an allegory and a metaphor for how our reality really works, right? We have these two opposing forces that seem to be separate in the public, like good and evil, but they're really working in tandem. It's just perceived that they're separate. So it's not only on a physical level, all of these countries and these different governments, they seem to be at war and at battle with each other when really they're all working together, just like how the dark and the light, perceived dark and light, is working spiritually through us. They're working together, they're working in tandem.
I agree. And that was always the ancient cosmological conception of how the universe originated. And it was also the eschatological conception that in the end, chaos and disorder would triumph over light and order. And that is what they're trying to bring about now, is the conclusion of this cosmological cycle. In the beginning, there is the great cosmic egg, which bursts out light, which in Cabala becomes Adam Kadmon, but in the Orphic mystery religions of the Greeks was Phanes Protogenes, who served as the light bringer, first begotten, which is what his name literally translates to. That became Jesus Christ, who was this logos figure that Philo Judaeus incorporated into Judaism when he Hellenized Judaism in the first century, at the very time that Jesus was said to have lived. And so all of this is being done artificially by design. It's the fulfillment of a very ancient plan to pit what they call the forces of light and the forces of darkness. In the Dead Sea Scrolls, the Qumran Scrolls, it talks about, the War Scroll talks about the sons of light and the sons of darkness, and this war of extermination between those two forces. And the sons of light are to triumph over the sons of darkness. And in Lurianic Cabala, all of this most ancient cosmology is incorporated into the idea that there were the 10 Sephirotic vessels, and that the light was emanated into the uppermost vessel initially. And there were also 4 or 5 worlds, depending if you want to consider Tohu, chaos, the uppermost and highest original world. And when this light was emanated into the uppermost vessel, it then transferred down like a lightning bolt into all of the lower vessels. But the 7 most lower vessels across the great abyss, which divides the realm of the gods from the lower realm of the planets, this 7 lower vessels were weak and immature, and they shattered. And when they shattered, they formed what Kabbalists refer to as husks or shells, which in the Hebrew is kelipot. And these husks and shells are composed of the material, the matter of chaos. And that is what the sons of darkness are composed of. The sons of light are composed of that divine light. And that divine light, which emanated down as a lightning bolt, is considered to be the holy serpent of light. And chaos is viewed as the dark serpent, the evil serpent. So the light becomes the progenitor and the parents of the sons of light, and Satan, the evil serpent, becomes the parents of the sons of darkness. And just as the light gives order and masters over chaos, the sons of light have the divine right to be the masters over the sons of darkness, and eventually to eliminate them. The sons of light, when these vessels shattered, were trapped in divine vessels that were made by the light itself. And the light has a supposed divine desire to cling to these vessels. So they view themselves as what they call Kelipa Noga, which means shining shells. And they view
The shining ones. Is that where the shining ones come from? The shining ones?
I don't know what you're referring to.
Well, some
Is
people
that
think that
something from Enoch or Baruch or something?
they think that the shining ones were sort of like the Anunnaki.
That's what I thought you were referring. Yeah, I
Yeah,
have seen that before. Now that you mention it, I
yeah,
recall that now.
yeah.
Um,
I was just curious if there was a connection, and that's how the shiny ones were kind of created and put into this thought form. Because we know that a lot of the names have been changed of these deities. It's all been inverted. I think that we've actually been worshiping the wrong God this entire time, right? Jesus is actually Satan, and Satan is actually Jesus, and they've been siphoning off of our energy onto a God that we know absolutely nothing about, and it's the wrong God. I mean, if you look around the world, like how can this world be based on a loving and caring God? The only conclusion that you can come to is that we've been giving our thoughts, energy, and prayers to something that does not have our best interest. And then if you look at the morning star, and that was a mistranslation from Lucifer in the Hebraic text, and then what is morning star? Then you got Hillel ben Sharar in there, which was another translation. And bin Sharar means son of the morning, and son of the morning and son of dawn. And then it only comes to the conclusion that Jesus is actually Lucifer, and Jesus can't. And we've been worshiping this Lucifer figure. We've been tricked into worshiping and giving our praise and thanks to the wrong God. What do you think about that?
oh, absolutely. That's the thesis of several of my books. And that was the way it was originally perceived by the Gnostic Christians. They stated in the Apocryphon of John that it was Jesus who provided Adam and Eve with gnosis, with knowledge from the tree of knowledge. And that figure is known in Judaism to be Satan. And it was a trap. It was deliberate. They deliberately set about to change the pagan religion, and primarily of the Romans and Greeks at that time, to Christianity as a trap, and to lead the non-Israelites into worshiping Satan, because they believe that Satan is the guardian angel of the non-Israelites, and therefore the appropriate religion for what they call the other side, the Sitra Achra, the evil side of chaos, is for Gentiles to worship Satan. It also has this effect of exterminating the non-Israelites, because when they cease to worship the gods that they created, who in turn created them according to their beliefs, those gods perish in the heavens, as above, so below. The gods are like egregores that only exist when people worship them. So when the pagans abandoned their gods, they lost all of their supernatural protection and instead turned their souls over to Satan. And I agree fully with your assessment that this was a deliberate process to steal the souls of the non-Israelites and to have those souls consumed by the Israelites and by their gods. And there was a precedent for this that I believe the ancient Judaists copied in their oral traditions, which created Christianity. And that was the most ancient Egyptian belief was in a master god, Unas, and his servant, Shesmu. Shesmu would tread the winepress, which was symbolic of extracting the blood of human beings and the gods. And this blood represented the grape juice of the winepress, which was then fermented into wine and given to the master god, Unas, who consumed it and filled his belly with the magic and the souls of the other gods and human beings. And that is exactly what Jesus Christ does. He tempts everyone to bear their own cross and offer themselves as a human sacrifice to the gods, so that the gods can consume the energy, is the way the Egyptians described it, the energy and the magic of their souls, and the energy and the magic of their gods can be consumed by this master god and by Shesmu himself. So that is the trap that Christianity is. Because the Israelites were so few in number and physically powerless, they utilized their intellect, which they believe the first intellect is the greatest force in the universe, to become the master over the chaos, which they thought of the Romans as being Edom and as being the chaos of Satan. So they were doing what their gods had done. They were imposing order and light on the chaos by becoming the master of it and rendering chaos their slave that they would exterminate. So they viewed other human beings as this slavish force of chaos and themselves as the divine intellect bringing order and light. And when they say that light will emerge from darkness, what they're saying is that non-Israelites will be exterminated and Israelites will become masters of chaos. But that is simply the first phase, which is to take place in the initial 6,000 years from the creation of Adam until the present day. After that, what happens according to the cosmology of the ancients, is that through the process of entropy, the darkness and the chaos assimilates all of the light and order, and the darkness begins to shine. And that is the eighth candle on the menorah after the 7 days when the darkness shines. And then chaos triumphs, frees itself from the order of the gods. And then the Israelites plan to become gods of their own, in which they have the intellect and the ripened knowledge of the fruit of the tree of good and evil, knowledge of good and evil.